we were created to solve problems on this earth. And not just what are you called to do, but why are you called to do it? Why did God create you? And getting them to wrestle that at any age, whether it's high school or parents or college, is essential to this walk on earth with Christ. And without Jesus, people will never find this purpose. Right. But even the ones that we know that are living for Christ, one of the biggest frustrations is when they don't know why they exist, what problem they're called to solve. And that's what they were walking these kids through. And like, I love what you said about they're marinated in it. Almost like you can run, but you can't hide. You have to keep showing up.
They have to show up.
They have to show up. And that could be a double-edged sword. But I think in this process, as long as whoever teaches it, if they get this material and do it themselves, right? They can do it all on their own. Any Christian school in America could take any of their kids through this without me or you being there. It's set up that way. But as long as they know on the front end that you're going to have resistance and that you want resistance, because that's where the Lord gets to push through and take them deeper and help them grow. Because like with breaking down muscle, you know, without resistance, you don't break down muscle. Without breaking down muscle, you can't rebuild and become stronger. And so when I watch them go through this process and they have to be there each and every day, you can see the growth that starts to happen. But we help them experience, why do they exist? Why do you want to pursue that major? Why do you want to pursue that path? And sometimes, I love what you said also about some are more ready to receive it than others. Mm-hmm. Some are at different levels. And it's okay if some only get a little bit out of it, but they have a roadmap for later in life to make decisions and guide them. But the other ones are ready completely for it. And it helps shape their life and give them direction right now, gives them a roadmap for right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful.
Yeah. When I went through it, I was in my late 30s, almost 40. And I struggled.
Wow, that was a while ago.
Yeah. Thank you, Tim. And so I was struggling with it then. I was saying, what's this? I mean, how's this going to grow my church? You know, all this kind of stuff. But one of and this is important because you hit on this, one of the core values of the organization I went through was to help pastors finish well.
That is so important.
Because think about it. Because if you don't know what your real purpose is and what you're doing and why you're doing it, you crash and burn. And that's why the statistics on ministry leaders crashing and burning is crazy. So knowing your why is one of the most important questions of our human existence, knowing your why.
Yeah.
You know, I heard one person, I don't know if it was John Maxwell or someone said, the people who have the answers to the what, where, when, how questions will always work for the people who have the answers to the why questions.
Wow.
Let me say
That's
that.
profound. Say that again.
Let me say it again. So the people who know the answers to the where, what, how, when, you know, the tactical questions will end up working or serving the people who have the answers to the why questions. You know, wow. And it's true. Wow. Like even a political, someone once said, Martin Luther King Jr. said, he didn't say I have a strategic plan. He says I have a dream.
I have a dream.
It answers the why of why we're here.
Why. We even talk about that story.
Yeah, and so I always say that when Christ is Lord, 10,000 lesser problems are solved. If you get your why and why I'm here, and why Christ is the number one purpose for my life, everything else just kind of lines up, and so much clutter and nonsense just isn't an issue. You still have problems, but knowing your why kind of gets you through the day when other people don't, you know. And so you are constantly going, well, why do you want to be a firefighter? You know, why do you want to be a teacher?
Yeah.
You know, why? A couple of them said, I just want to make money. You know,
yeah, I want to make money. Well, why? What's the purpose of the money? Yeah. What problem are you going to solve with that money?
Yeah, and so as humans, we're very natural first, right? You know, the problems you initially need to solve. Well, I need money because I want a nice car, I want a nice house, all that kind of stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that, but their focus is short-sighted. And the good thing about Christ is he gives us an eternal purpose for the long haul, a purpose in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, 70s, you know what I'm saying? And having the why gives you the long game, which means you hit the right target at the end of life.
Yeah, which allows you to have hope and have resiliency. And perseverance when the difficult times come. Yeah. When you know that why, it'll help you push through past that. And I think that's why in the 20-somethings, I was reading a stat the other day, I think it was from the Department of Labor, Department of Labor of the U.S. government or something like that, was saying that the average person will have between 10 and 13 jobs in their career. And they say, depending on what study you look at, between 3 and 7 different careers in your life. But they said most people had 9 jobs from 18 to 36 years of age. The like late millennials, if you will, but they've had about 9 different jobs in that 18-year period. And a lot of those are in their 20s. And so people jump from job to job. But if they understand the process of the purpose experience, they'll understand why God's led them those different jobs and how to navigate what he's saying for the next step, the next season, because we talk about purpose as a process, not a one-time event. It's not about the one job. It's about the experience that God's leading you through to get to that place. And that's why I think it's so powerful for not only high school kids to understand now, so when they get to their 20s, they're prepared in advance for what's about to come. And they're not thrown off by it. They're not depressed over it. They actually like, wow, I'm excited about what God's doing. He shifted me. But it's also not for only the 20-somethings, but for the parents to know their why, to know the process so they can coach their kids. They can coach their graduating high school seniors into the next season. They can coach the college kids in the 20-somethings. Maybe they mentor in their college group or at their church or in their family for parents. So I think the whole process of knowing why is absolutely critical.
Yeah. If I can put my pastor hat on just for a moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Just for the audience that are listening, knowing your why is so important. But, in one of our classes, we have a slogan or a phrase that says, right believing involves right belonging. So if you're believing about things about Christ correctly, then you will belong to the right group of people.
That's so good.
And so I just want to encourage those who are listening, you can know your why, but don't be a lone ranger.
Right.
And be connected to a body of believers. If you haven't found a church yet, find a home group, find a group of believers that you hang with weekly that can encourage you and support you, because that will be very helpful. They'll speak common sense to you when you're not being when you're being, a knucklehead. And
that's so good though. I love it. Because in the purpose experience, we say right believing leads to right behavior.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you don't become saved based upon your behavior, but based upon what you believe.
That's right.
So I love that about right believing leads to right belonging. Yeah. And we all know the power of who you hang out with, right?
That's right. That's
right. So important.
You want to make sure your crew is going in the same direction towards Christ as you are.
Yeah.